She had learned that the universe responded to frequency, and so she worked hard every day to keep her heart uplifted, her thoughts clear, her vibrational field aligned. But life went on the same. The same blockages, the same stagnation, the same emptiness hidden behind conscious smiles. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right, and yet nothing changes? You visualize, you write, you feel with your heart. You affirm every day, but reality insists on not moving, as if there was something invisible blocking everything. What if I told you that maybe you're going wrong exactly where you think you're going, right? This channel is not just about stories, it's about hidden codes. Codes that are behind the reality you live in. And perhaps, without realizing it, you have been trying to decipher them for years. Here, each case is a key, a clue, a mirror of what you may also be experiencing today. What you are about to hear seems impossible, but when you understand the universal laws, the impossible becomes just misunderstood. This is the story of someone who believed in the power of the mind, the law of attraction, and the power of positive thinking. She knew that reality was shaped by vibration. I did everything the books, videos, and spiritual masters said. I visualized my dream life every day. He was moved by the details. Gratitude, intention, presence, it was all there. But time passed, and nothing happened. Have you ever experienced this? That feeling that you are vibrating loudly, but the universe is silent? As if something is blocking your desires without explanation? She didn't understand. She felt like she was doing everything right, but his life was stagnant. And that made her wonder, does all this really work? Is the manifestation real? Or is it just another spiritual illusion? What she didn't know yet is that there is an invisible law that almost no one talks about. The law of gender. A subtle but decisive force that governs the balance between feeling and acting. The feminine and the masculine within each of us. As she immersed herself in the energy of inner creation, she forgot about inspired action. I forgot about the movement. Of courage, of the energy that transforms the invisible into matter. Stay with me until the end. Because what you're about to discover now may surprise you, and it may explain why your life hasn't changed yet, even with so much faith and intention. The answer she found did not come from outside, that it came from the moment she understood that just feeling is not enough, that without action there is no manifestation, that the universe responds to vibration but also to decision. And that's when she did it. This all started to change. But before we reveal what happened next, you need to understand who she was and what made her believe she was on the right path. Because maybe you're in exactly the same place. In this video, you will learn about gender law, as she gives mentalism and the correspondence law, not as philosophical concepts, but as living forces that act every day in your reality. Whether you realize it or not, you will understand how the mind creates, how the universe reflects exactly what you are inside, and why manifestation is only complete when there is balance between the masculine and feminine energies within you. More than just hearing about these universal laws, you will learn how to use each of them consciously, transforming thoughts into direction, intuition into action, and energy into concrete results. Because when these laws are understood in practice, the invisible begins to respond, and your reality changes. Stay with me, because what you are about to discover now could turn a key inside you. Maybe you are at that turning point too. Maybe you spent years believing that all you had to do was feel desire and wait. But something inside you starts to whisper that there is a step missing, a choice, a movement. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. About the blind spot of the demonstration. About the missing link between dream and achievement. If this topic makes sense to you, Leave it here in the comments what has touched you the most so far. Have you ever felt stuck, even though you thought you were doing everything right? Ever had that feeling of vibrating high, but living low? Sharing this can not only set you free, but also help others who are going through the same thing. Here, each comment is a voice that echoes, and that builds this community of awakened people. And if this content touches you in any way, like this video, this shows YouTube that these kinds of messages matter and helps bring these truths to more people who need to hear them. Oh, and subscribe to the channel if you feel this is more than just a video. If you feel that this space is for you, that each story is also a reflection of what you experience. So stay with us, because there is still a lot of hidden code to decipher. And the next one could be the one that changes everything. Now, come back with me, because you need to understand what she discovered and how it completely changed the course of her life. Marina believed it. She didn't just believe it, she lived it. Mornings began with guided meditations and journaling in her gratitude journal. Her room was decorated with empowering quotes, images of future dreams, and a vision board made with such care that it looked like a work of art. She felt intensely each scene she created in her mind. It was as if everything was already happening inside her for a long time. Marina thought it was just a matter of waiting. That one day, when the moment was right, everything would come to her. But the hidden truth is that her waiting was not faith. It was fear. Fear of acting. Fear of making mistakes. Fear of leaving the safe plane of the mind where everything is beautiful and facing harsh reality, where action is required. Until one day, in a random video, she heard a simple sentence: direct. Feeling is not enough. You have to act. And for some reason, it got through to her as if, for the first time, someone had pointed to the backstage of the demonstration. That place where vibration meets choice, where creative energy needs active structure. She understood that it's not enough to just imagine the door opening. You have to have the courage to turn the handle. She realized that her vibration was intense, yes, but incomplete, because the feminine in her created worlds, but the dormant masculine prevented these worlds from being born. This deeply affected his mindset. She began to question everything. What if the universe wasn't silent? What if he was just waiting for her to move? That's when Marina realized the impact of living with unbalanced energy. She had put all her strength into intuition, surrender, trust. But I forgot to give directions. I forgot that creation needs a body to exist. And then, for the first time in a long time, she decided to do something new. Nothing fancy. Just a small action. A step that previously seemed insignificant, but which, energetically, was like unlocking an ancient safe, because it wasn't about what she did. It was about what that action symbolized. It was about getting out of the invisible cycle where you dream, feel, and hope. In that day, she didn't just feel hope. She felt movement. She felt the universe respond, not with immediate miracles, but with clear signs that something had finally begun to align. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject. Comment. Here, I'm on this journey too, if this is making sense to you so far, because what happened to Marina happens to more people than you can imagine. And maybe it's happening to you too. How many times have you followed all the steps? Read the right book, watched the right videos, repeated the right phrases, tried to align your energy with what you wanted. And yet, it seemed like the universe was silent. It's like you're surrounded by an invisible wall. And worse, a wall that no one sees. Because on the outside, everything is fine. You say you believe. You feel like you're on the right path. You keep a positive mindset. But inside, there is something that still weighs. Maybe you are vibrating strongly, but still, maybe you are carrying an incredible frequency, but without direction. And that in the vibrational world is like screaming into an energy field that has nowhere to land. It's like wanting to pick fruit from a tree you never actually planted, or worse, that you planted only in your mind. There is a hidden truth that almost no one talks about. The mind creates, but it is the body that makes it happen. And the true manifestation happens in the encounter between the two. Many people immerse themselves so much in the spiritual world that they forget that life also happens here, on the physical plane. And it's not because you act that you are being less spiritual. On the contrary, inspired action is a kind of prayer in motion. Every step you take with clarity is a vibrational statement to the universe, a confirmation that you are not just wishing, you are becoming. And that is exactly where the transformation lies. The moment you stop waiting for life to change and start changing with it, the moment you understand that fear is not a sign to stop, it's just an invitation to grow. Maybe you're waiting for the universe to prove something to you, but what if you're the one who needs to prove to the universe that you're ready? Marina only started seeing results when she stopped waiting for the right time and started moving with what she had. She was no longer interested in expressing herself in the pretty and proper way. She wanted to feel the real impact. See concrete changes. And that took courage. Courage to break patterns. Courage to do things differently. Courage to act even without guarantees. Because sometimes what's missing is not more visualization. It is more true. More decision. More presence. And maybe what you avoid is exactly what will set you free. Write in the comments. That makes sense to me. I want to know who is feeling this on their skin. Now take a deep breath with me, because what comes next shakes everything up. There's a part of this story that you may never have actually heard. A part that lives behind the scenes of reality. Where most people get stuck without realizing it. Where many are repeating patterns and calling it spirituality. This is where the gender law. And no, we are not talking about gender as the world usually treats it. Man, woman, masculine, feminine in the body. We are talking about essential polarity that exists in everything that was created. Every manifestation, every decision, every reality that is born from the union between two poles. The feminine and masculine. The feminine is the energy of inner creation. It is feeling, imagining, intuiting, receiving, welcoming. This is where the seed of desire is born. And Marina was deeply connected to that. She felt it intensely. I visualized every detail of the life I wanted to live. He had powerful intuitions. He sensed the paths. It was as if she had access to the soul of the reality she wished to create. But only the feminine does, not manifest. The masculine is the energy of movement. It is the action, the decision, the direction, the focus. It is he who takes the seed from the invisible and plants it in the physical ground. It is the one who organizes the creative chaos into something tangible. And Marina, like many people who live in the world of spirituality, neglected this part. Not on purpose, but because somewhere inside her, the masculine was seen as forcing, controlling, going against the flow. She confused action with distrust. He confused movement with resistance. And then there was an invisible cycle. She felt, but did not act. He created, but did not implement. I wanted to, but I didn't decide. The demonstration was stalled not due to lack of energy, but for lack of integration. When we understand the gender law, we understand that real spirituality is not just a connection with the subtle. It is also courage to bring this subtlety to matter. It is the responsibility to act conscientiously. It's knowing when to feel and knowing when to do. This law is the key to getting out of the illusion that the universe will bring everything. Because the universe only moves when you move with it. The frequency of creation does not just respond to what you vibrate. It responds to what you become. And becoming what you want requires both poles. It demands all of you. This is what starts to unblock the flow. When the internal and the external come into harmony, when the feminine and the masculine dance together and create, together, a new reality. The hidden truth that Marina discovered is that manifestation is a partnership. You and the universe. You and yourself. Your intuition and your choice. Your wish and your decision. Comment here. Now it makes sense if this touched you in any way. Because the next part of this story reveals what really happens when these two worlds finally meet. What Marina didn't know yet, and what you may not have realized either, is that her passivity was not neutrality. It was escape. Behind all that spiritual discipline, that daily surrender, that tireless faith, there was a deep fear. A fear disguised as trust. She said she was waiting for the right moment, that the universe would know when to deliver. But deep down, she was avoiding taking action. It was as if she had built a mystical bubble where everything was comfortable. She could feel, imagine, vibrate, but without exposing herself, without taking risks, without making decisions that would place her in the real world, where things might not turn out as expected. And this is a sensitive point, because often, excess spirituality can become a comfort zone. Anesthesia disguised as elevation. The truth is, she wasn't afraid that things wouldn't work out. She was afraid of confirming that maybe they never would. So I didn't really try. Because as long as she didn't act, hope remained intact. The dream remained pure. But a dream that never finds the courage to become a choice is just a suspended desire. The big turning point happened in a small moment. Nothing epic, nothing cinematic. It was just a yes, a step, a gesture she had been putting off for months, maybe years. But when she finally decided to act, even though she was shaking, even though she was hesitant, something started to move. Not outside, inside. She felt her entire body respond, as if that action had unlocked a force that was there all along, but dormant. As if, upon leaving the waiting period, she had taken on a new role, that of co-author of her own life. And that's when the universe responded, not with instant miracles, but with clarity, with paths that did not exist before, with encounters that seemed too synchronic to be coincidence, with opportunities that required her presence, but that no longer seemed threatening, because she wasn't the same anymore. The universe doesn't just respond to what you want, it responds to what you become. He responds when you stop asking and start walking, when you stop waiting for approval and start taking direction. It was at that moment that Marina understood. She no longer needed everything to be perfectly aligned. She just needed to be present enough to do what was possible with what she had. And when she took that first step, everything that was blocked began to open up. Not because the universe has changed, but because she changed. And that changes everything. From that point on, her journey gained new energy. And what once seemed unattainable finally began to materialize. In the next episode, you will learn about the case of a man who said, "I am unlucky," and because of that, everything went wrong. If you've come this far, it's because this story touched you in some way. Maybe it touched something you couldn't even name. But now it makes sense. And if it did, if at some point you saw yourself in Marina, or felt that this message was for you, then this channel is also the place for you. Here, we don't just talk about spirituality. We delve into what's behind reality, in the laws that govern what seems invisible. And if this makes you think differently, feel differently, see beyond, sign up here and continue this journey with us. And tell me in the comments, this message was for me. I want to know who stayed with me until the end, who allowed themselves to go through this process and perhaps start a new phase now. If this video touched you, leave a like. Not only because it helps the channel, but because it seals this exchange, this connection that we built here with truth, and look. There's a video here that complements this subject in a way that might surprise you. Click and continue with me there. The next key might be there.